She stood at the kitchen counter while the call ended, the phone still warm in her hand. The word stayed behind after the line went quiet, like steam that refused to lift. No space for your kids at Christmas. Her mother had said it gently, as if the problem were furniture. A sofa too big, a table already set. Logistics. Then her brother had laughed, that easy laugh he used when he wanted permission. Let's be real. They're a bit much. She hadn't argued. She hadn't defended her kids. Not because she agreed, but because the room inside her filled with a familiar, careful silence, the kind that arrived when speaking felt like volunteering to be misunderstood. After the call, she went upstairs. Her children were in their rooms, doors half open, music low. She watched them for a second too long. The older one hunched over a book, feet tucked beneath her. The younger one lining up toy cars on the rug, whispering sound effects to himself. Too much, apparently. Too alive. Too loud for a house that liked its holidays curated. Downstairs, the gifts waited. They had been stacked neatly along the wall for weeks, wrapped in paper she'd chosen deliberately. Colors she knew her nieces and nephews liked. A science kit. A jacket in the right size. A book series her brother's youngest had once asked about, and then forgotten. Because adults often forgot that children remembered who listened. She sat on the floor in front of the pile and rested her hands on her knees. There was a tightness in her chest that wasn't anger yet. More like pressure. Like something asking to be acknowledged. She picked up the receipts from the envelope she'd taped to the side of one box. Smoothed them flat, counted, without meaning to, $1,600. It surprised her, not because it was a lot, but because no one ever noticed when she spent it. The decision didn't come with fireworks. It came briskly, like checking the weather before leaving the house. She stood, gathered the gifts one by one, and loaded them into the trunk of her car. The night air was cold. Her breath fogged. She locked the trunk and stood there for a moment, keys dangling, listening to the distant sound of someone else's television through a window. At the store, the fluorescent lights were unforgiving. A clerk with tired eyes scanned barcodes and asked if she wanted the refunds back on the original card. She said yes. Another clerk smiled politely and wished her a happy holiday. The receipt printed long and pale, like proof of something that no longer existed. When the money reappeared in her account, stripped of bows and sentiment, she felt relief first. Then the ache came, not regret, something quieter. A recognition that generosity, when assumed, curdled into obligation. She slept poorly. At 2 a.m. her phone buzzed, they're crying. Where are their gifts? No greeting, no question mark, even. Just the weight of accusation placed carefully at her feet. She sat up in bed, the room dim and blue. Her children were still asleep down the hall. She could hear the furnace click on, the house settling. Ordinary sounds anchoring her to the morning. Anger arrived then, clean and sharp. Not the flailing kind. The kind that clarified. She typed, deleted, typed again. You said there was no space for my kids at Christmas, she wrote. I assumed there was no space for my gifts either. The typing bubble appeared almost instantly. Disappeared, reappeared. That's not the same thing, her brother wrote. You're punishing the kids. She stared at the screen. At the way he reached first for outrage, not reflection. No, she replied. I stopped pretending my kids don't count. The response took longer this time. When it came, it was a paragraph. Then another. Words like petty and dramatic and cruel floated up, buoyant with certainty. Her mother joined in, a separate text thread blooming with disappointment framed as concern. She didn't answer right away. She got up, made coffee, packed lunches. Her children padded into the kitchen, hair wild, voices soft with sleep. She kissed the tops of their heads and listened to them argue about cereal. Too much, she thought, and felt something like pride bloom where shame used to sit. Later that morning the calls started. She let them ring. By noon she had listened to 3 voicemails. In the first her brother was angry. In the second, confused. In the third, tired. You didn't have to do it like this, he said. Mom's upset. She wondered, briefly, if anyone had told the kids why her children weren't welcome. If they'd explained it with the same logistical tone. No space, a bit much. In the afternoon she took her kids to the park. It was cold but bright. They ran until their faces flushed, breath puffing white. She sat on a bench and watched them, hands wrapped around a paper cup of coffee, feeling the day stretch out in front of her. That evening, she sent one more message. I'm not discussing this further. Christmas will look different this year. We'll be okay. There was no reply. Christmas morning arrived quietly. No big house, no crowded table. Just her small living room, a modest tree, gifts chosen with intention rather than performance. Her children tore into wrapping paper, laughter filling the space easily, without apology. Later, while they played, she checked her phone. A message from her mother waited, short and careful. We didn't mean to hurt anyone. She read it twice, considered the words, what they included, what they didn't. She typed back, intent doesn't erase impact. The typing bubble appeared, disappeared. In the days that followed, things shifted, not dramatically, but unmistakably. Invitations slowed. Conversations grew more guarded. When they did talk, her family avoided mentioning Christmas altogether, as if silence could smooth over the shape of absence. She missed them, sometimes. Or maybe she missed the idea of them, the version that had room. But something else had taken root alongside the loss. A steadiness. A sense that she no longer needed to contort herself to be included. One night, as she tucked her children into bed, the older one asked, "Are we going to Grandma's next year?" She paused, smoothing the blanket. "I don't know," she said honestly. "We'll see." The child nodded, satisfied. "I like it here," she said, already drifting. Downstairs, the house hummed softly. The tree lights blinked. The receipt from the return sat folded in a drawer, forgotten. Christmas had been smaller, quieter, not painless, but it had been theirs. And for the first time, that felt like enough.